Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Pod. We have Sarah Vilenskiy with us. She is founder and CEO at Blossom Essential. Really glad to have her on. This podcast is brought to you by podpire.com, which is my podcasting agency if you want to start, scale, or be invited to a podcast like this one. Sarah, I am glad to have you on. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and Blossom?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Charles. Blossom is, simply as possible, a hydration company for chronic dry and irritated skin. So we make everything from salves to body washes, really a full line of top to bottom solutions for anyone with that sensitivity and very irritable skin. And we focus on really clean ingredients, very gentle ones that won't create further irritation, and then will also soothe the current one. So it's really the pre and post flare up world that many of our customers, are constantly dealing with. My background is in digital marketing, so I came with a different kind of skill set than most beauty brands. I came in with a network and a lot of knowledge on how to grow and scale a business D2C versus more of that beauty, educational background. I didn't work at a beauty company prior to this. I just know strictly all about dry skin because I personally have it. And so it's really allowed me to connect with my audience and take it to a deeper level than just a generalized skincare company that most, brands are often offering.
That's pretty cool. I love the packaging. It's really simple. I would certainly buy for my wife. Do you ship to Mexico?
We do, yes.
Cool. Very nice. Dry skin, right? Like me, as a biohacker, my first company was a nootropic, so a supplement for the brain. And I've always taken care of my brain and body, except when I decide to torture myself 2 days ago with a 3-hour workout featuring 2,000 squats, 1,000 push-ups, and 600 jackknives, but that's another story. Skin, collagen, omega-3s, in my opinion, like sweating is somewhat good for the skin. Obviously, there's genes in the mix. There's also your environment, right? Like in my cold native Canada, I used to go outside and the lips would go very dry. I would be like very dry here around the nose. So that's also another factor that you need to be, I guess, careful of. And if you are in these arid environments, then I guess you need a cream. So you had your own problem and you decided to solve it, but founding a company is quite complicated, and you probably was like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then you were like, oh shit, this is really hard. So tell us about the story and the challenge that you faced along the way.
I don't think I've ever once thought it was going to be easy. Um, I am fortunate enough that I have an amazing support system that made me feel okay when I expressed negative emotions or just overall stress. So they weren't like, oh, just figure it out. They were very much, it's okay, be that way, sit in it, and then move on from there once you're ready to. And having that support system has really allowed me to navigate this journey, if you will, this very, very tough, strenuous, and cumbersome journey. But yeah, we've dealt with, at this point, everything that can probably go wrong. We have dealt with shipping issues. We have dealt with product issues way back when that at the time I thought was going to be the end of the business. And, what I've learned, and the issue itself isn't really the problem. As long as you understand that you're taking it slowly and figuring out a solution and not panicking, you will get to the other side and you will be able to bounce back from that. And I've seen it time and time again where in the thick of it, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the end. I don't know how we're going to recover. And then, here we are a few years later and we've flourished. So all of that to say, it's not about the issue itself. There's 1,000 of them. There's going to be thousands of them that come up. It's about how you get through to the other side, and then you also learn from each one of those issues. And so I'm happy to say that I've never run into the same issue twice. There are so many new issues that come up that you just don't know that are going to, show up. But it's really, really important to learn from the first one so that you're not, compounding issues. You're very much tackling new ones as you grow. So, the issues that we dealt with when we were only a 6-figure company to what we deal with as a 7-figure company is astronomically different. And you need to be able to kind of put those behind you in order to be ready for the new ones that come your way.
And I see the images on your website. It's quite amazing the impact that you had on these women's life. And I guess not only women, but also men. It's mostly women. Women's care a lot about their skins way more than men do. I guess, that's and just another advantage of being a man. Really grateful to be a man. Anyway, psoriasis. My mom and my wife have that, both have quite high stress levels at times. I think that's the source of it. How do you fix that? Is it with a cream or is it by calming your mind down?
So in relation to skin diseases, psoriasis, eczema, first of all, they're autoimmune diseases, right? And so you can't really ever treat them. They're never going to go away. But what you can do is control them. So we're controlling the symptoms. Now, there are environmental stressors, there are internal stressors. Stress absolutely increases a flare-up's intensity. If you're not stressed, your body has the strength to control it. A lot of it stems from inflammation in the gut. So your diet is really imperative to controlling those flare-ups. And so all of that to say, you can use our products to control the symptoms, but if you really want to control the autoimmune disease in itself, like controlling it so that you really just have healthy skin, it's really just a full recipe, a cocktail of different things you need to be doing all at the same time. And so, stress is 100% absolutely one of them, but there are so many other things. Like you said, in Canada, the air is very dry, and so that can trigger a flare because your skin doesn't have the nourishment or the hydration. Excuse me. Just for everybody, I don't normally sound like this. I'm coming off of a very intense cold this weekend. But yes, as I was saying, that the environmental stressors can definitely play a part. And so that's where our products really come into play, is like, if you have things that are out of your control, our products will do the work to control those symptoms so that you can, continue to live where you live or use the water that you're using, etc.
For the voice, if you want, I can speak like this to make you feel more comfortable, and we can inverse the roles today.
Sure, go ahead. It might be a little difficult.
I won't. I'll probably do some damage there. The sourcing, how you build the product, right? Because my first business was a nootropic. Yeah, we produced the full formula. We produced it in GMP labs in Canada, had some studies made on the product, was Health Canada approved, was Top Gun, it was top product. We still had to shut that one down because the economics weren't right and the time was not sufficient, or energy, let's call it that way. So I want to know, on your side, who builds the formula? To whom do you source it? Is it in US, in China? Is it in LATAM? Like, tell me more.
We absolutely create everything. All of our formulas are proprietary. We work with a third-party chemist here in actually Colorado. We switched over from one in Florida recently. We take pride in our formulas because, in order to attack the sensitive skin niche, those not even sensitive skin, like take it to another level where like anything can cause trigger it to have a flare up. You need to be so cognizant of the ingredients that are going into your formulas, down to the very last preservative that you use. And so not only do we make sure that our formulas are paraben free, sulfate free, SLS free, et cetera, all of those pretty much table stakes at this point, we take it to a deeper level and say, is this going to be gentle enough for those with irritable skin? And so it's really important that we have full control over our formulas and not just outsourcing it to, we're never going to white label, which for anybody out there that doesn't know what that means, it means that take a pre-created formula and just stick a label on it and then sell it as our own, which, by the way, thousands of brands do. So just be careful with what you're buying. But we really take a long time to produce our formulas because of how intricate they are.
And it seems that you're going for the shotgun approach, which is also similar to the approach I had with my supplements. So you take a bunch of active ingredients with science behind them, and you mix them all up together. Yes, there might be combination effects between each, but generally speaking, if one has an effect and the other has an effect, well, you're sure to get a reaction in the end. So is that the approach there? And also, I must mention, like, pretty much everything I see there is fully natural.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. We really focus on the clean and natural route. We have taken a step back from focusing primarily on natural to be more of that clean and gentle, just because there are so many very, very safe ingredients that just aren't 100% natural. And there are a lot of natural ingredients that are actually very irritable, which is surprising. And so that was what we shifted as a brand recently. But in regards to your first question, yeah, we really focus on ingredients that complement each other, and then also that have a lot of different benefits in terms of tackling different issues. And so what I mean by that is our bestseller, our hydration repair honey salve, has a multitude of different ingredients that do all these different little things, so that when they come together, they're essentially this like powerhouse that's like a war for your skin. Like, I'm going to attack this with everything we've got in a natural way, so that it can't even try to come back and create these flare-ups or attack or further the inflammation. So a lot of brands, and we take pride in this, a lot of brands, what they do is they create one product that does one very specific thing, and then they create another product and so on and so forth. What we do is we truly focus on multifunctional products, where there are so many different things all coming in together in one product. So you don't need to buy 12 different products all doing little things, so that eventually you get the results that you desire. Our one product should do the job, so that everything you need is compact, and you don't also have to take like an hour every morning to do this, right? It takes 5 minutes of your day, and then you go on and you're just enjoying your life for once.
How do you make sure to see what product you should double 10x down on vs the ones that you should discontinue? Is it the profit margins? Is it the number of orders? Is it the short-term traction? Is it the amount of efforts you put in? How do you A/B test all of that?
Fantastic question. So the way that we look at it is kind of a little bit of everything. And so first we'll test it on ads. If it doesn't work, then we push it to a cross-sell and upsell product. Then we'll look at, okay, over the course of however many units we purchased initially, how long did it take us to sell through that? And then what were the repeat orders for it? Who's primarily buying it? How are the reviews for it, et cetera? And so, for example, we've recently decided to deplete and discontinue our hair care line, the shampoo and conditioner specifically, because we realized it's moving astronomically slower than our face and body products, and then B, it's heavier to ship. C, it's not super exciting to us. There are so many hair care brands out there that are just doing these crazy like technology based formulas, and it's not something that we wanted to focus on. And we realized that this arena is really something very complex. And so all of those things together made us realize like hair care is not for us. We're just going to ship to face and body, and it works really well for us. So that's how we decide all of that.
How do you get your new customers, and how much is B2C vs B2B efforts?
We do a lot of D2C advertising, so we'll do a lot of social advertising. That's primarily where we drive our new customers. We have a robust affiliate program as well, and then we of course have email and SMS to nurture our community. And so repeat orders are incredibly important for us as a D2C brand, trying not to just lose all of our money. And so that's very much critical for us to survive. And so we put in a lot of effort with that. And then in terms of B2B versus B2C, it's yeah, at this moment, it's about 99% B2C, but we are looking to expand into that B2B world as we speak.
Yeah, in stores and so forth. So the social media channels, can you define them, and what type of ads on Insta or TikTok is working particularly well? Who do you target, their demographic, psychographics, interests, and so forth?
Sure. Well, I'm not going to give away all of our secret sauce, but it's very much our demo skews older, and so TikTok never worked for us. But we primarily sell on Facebook, Instagram, Google. We do some Pinterest, and then yeah, the affiliate side as well. So the affiliate efforts are very vast in terms of their different platforms that they use, and so we kind of let them do their thing, and then we also we dabble in some flat platforms like creator shops, and we don't really do much in influencer marketing. The extent of that is within those creator shops. They're very slow, and it's not our primary source of income, but it is nice to have a few sales trickle in every once in a while from there. And then in terms of the targeting specifically, I think that's very specific to your type of brand. But what I will say to this, for anybody listening out there, try to think outside the box. It's the most obvious ones are usually the ones that you're competing with against, in terms of the auction. And if you start really thinking about what are some of the other things that these people might like to do, you can tap into new markets that other people may not be thinking about, and it can lower your CPMs.
All right, so I'm gonna try to put my brain to work here. So first, focus on markets with the cold and arid air. New York, Montreal would be a good one. So time of the year, right? During the winter specifically. Target people that are stressed. So what are these professions? And women, I would definitely go after women. That's obvious. High performing execs, right? Markets that people have lost their jobs, for example. I would definitely try that. Then for the age, I would go at an age at which they mostly start to have these problems. Or for example, I know that menopause causes that a lot. So that would be another one that I would go here. Probably interest in creams, because there's a lot of ladies like my wife, they have good skin, but they invest tons in creams. I guess that's most ladies, by the way. So what do you think about my plan there, if I want to start a competitor to yours?
I think you'd be surprised at how different I'm thinking in terms of audiences. So seasonality is of course important, but our products are actually so if you knew enough about our audience, which I do, of course, I know that people get flare-ups throughout the year. It's not only in the colder weather. The heat, you can get a sunburn, you can get the inflammation sticks, and then you get a flare-up, right? And there's a million different ways to get it. So trying to target people in the winter for a winter cream is going to be expensive. If you think about, so for me, and not to say that we do this or not, but for me, I would think about gardening or book clubs, or people that have a lot of pets.
Fast running club. No, fast walking club, sorry.
Yeah, there you go. So especially for our demo. So those are kind of the things I'm trying to think about. But then at the end of the day, we'll split test that against just Facebook's algorithm, a broad targeting range. And oftentimes the broad one works because we have enough engagement that our Facebook pixels are optimized and they can, be sent to the right people. And so, initially it's very difficult because you're throwing it at practically the ether and saying, here, where's it going to stick? But eventually, once you have enough engagement and conversions, Facebook actually does a really good job.
So a couple of other things here. Back in my days, I was focusing on, so two things. If I would redo my physical product business, and I will redo a bunch, just not now because I have too much on my plate. But one, I think I'd focus big time on Amazon ads. And the second is I would do a bunch of cold email campaigns to get into stores. What do you think about these two things?
It very much depends on the store, in terms of the cold email. Retail, specifically, the way I'm thinking about it, the Credos of the world, the Sephora's and Ultas, they have a very rigid buying schedule. And so you can't just cold email and be like, oh, I'm going to get in. You need to talk to the right person at the right time, and it might take 2 years to get you into that store. And most of the time they get thousands of these emails. And so if you don't have a direct relationship somehow, whether it be a buyer or consultant or you personally, it makes it very difficult. Boutiques are probably a lot easier. Spas are probably a lot easier, but you still need, one cold email is not really going to do the trick. So I would, it needs to be far more robust than that. But you never know. It might work. You might land a few. And then in terms of
Amazon.
Amazon. Amazon is a necessary evil, in my personal opinion. We need it in order to continue generating revenue, but we do not actively. I mean, we spend a little bit on ads just to make sure we're maintaining our sponsored spots, but we don't invest too heavily there because all of our Facebook traffic that we spend thousands a day or whatever, a lot of that ends up on Amazon anyway.
Two other ideas I was on. One that I see obviously that you are on is the subscription one. So let's say that your margins 30% profits, maybe 40, something like that. And like if you have to factor the marketing cost in there, they're probably eating 20% of these margins, right? So it's like repeat business. So that is it's not even evil, it's like necessary to stay afloat in these types of businesses. So if you could tell me a bit more about the subscription program that you have, how much do your customers save, and what percent of your orders are repeat orders?
Sure. I do have 1 more minute though. I do have to jump off.
Yep.
In terms of subscriptions, we don't push them. We aren't actively pushing them because we notice that when we do that, people are just getting the discount and then, not actually wanting to be in the subscription, and then they'll cancel quickly. And so what we found that works for us is, naturally inviting them to subscribe. And so once they've tried our product, we try to get them to, and they've purchased multiple times, we'll try to get them into a subscription. But what we've actually noticed is that a lot of people will just come back and purchase regardless of whether they're on a subscription. A lot of them are scorned by the Facebook world that has, targeted them with these icky black hat subscribers, and they don't know what they're getting themselves into. And then it's an absolute nightmare, right? And so they're like, I will never try a subscription again, even though we're very clean about it. And so we've dealt with that by just continuing the conversation, maintaining the community, and making sure that we're top of mind for them. And so they'll just buy when they're ready to buy, and it works really nicely for us. But for the subscribers, we do offer 15% discount. And then I don't actually have the data point for the subscriber versus non-subscriber, but we do have a decent amount, that are actively staying within the subscription.
Well, then last low-hanging fruit for the audience here, like samples can be cool, especially if you want to get in store, and just for your customers, if they have a bad itch and they try a cream and it's like wonderful, it's like miracle, the itch stops and I feel good, they'll buy your product right after. Sarah, sorry, can you tell us like where to find out more about yourself and about your company?
Absolutely. So our website is tryblossom.com, TRYBLOSSOM.com. And then if you want to connect, feel free to send me a LinkedIn invite. I love chatting there, meeting new people and networking. So yeah, definitely the best place to find me.